Washington rages. That Sunday morning, America practically exploded with the news. In a CBS studio, Hillary Clinton, the old guard icon of the Democratic Party, sat straight-backed, the studio lights catching her weathered face, and uttered the words that sent shockwaves through the entire political establishment. I truly commend President Trump and his administration, as well as the Arab leaders in the region, for committing to the 20-point plan and finding a path toward peace. The sentence hung in the air, and for a moment, the nation stood still. Not because of the content, but because of the speaker. Hillary, the woman who had once declared Trump the greatest threat to American democracy, was now praising him. Some applauded, others were stunned. But everyone understood the moral lines in American politics had just been blurred. Just a day earlier, Barack Obama, in a speech at Princeton, had refused to even mention Donald Trump's name. Yet now, the woman who once stood with him at the helm of the party was openly lauding their rival. While America remained mired in polarization, the man once considered anathema was being applauded on national television. Politico's headline blared, "Hillary commends Trump for Gaza peace plan." Reuters wrote, "Clinton's praise for Trump sparks shockwaves across Washington." And Fox News snarked, "Even Hillary knows. Trump brings peace." Across town, in a small congressional office, Jasmine Crockett was curled up in front of a screen. When she heard the words, she closed her eyes and let out a single, quiet word. Unbelievable. 15 minutes later, she went live. Just a phone and a voice that trembled slightly but was firm. Hillary might call it peace, but I call it a betrayal. Are we talking about the same man, the one who cut Wick, who trampled on justice, and now he's a peacemaker? I have to ask, what is the Democratic Party defending anymore? Justice or power? Within 10 minutes, the clip hit 5 million views. CNN, MSNBC, and even Fox News replayed it. Comments flooded the internet. Go, Jasmine. Hillary lost her soul. The party's done. A social media firestorm had begun, not between two parties, but between the two souls of one. Hillary, who represents order and compromise. Jasmine, who represents conscience and resistance. Two generations, two philosophies, two Americas. On October 10, President Trump announced the Gaza Peace Accord, a 20-point document brokered by the US, Egypt, and Saudi Arabia. The three main terms: Hamas would release all hostages within 72 hours, Israel would withdraw troops from northern Gaza, and the US would establish a $50 billion reconstruction fund in exchange for Hamas's partial disarmament. The world breathed a sigh of relief, while Trump declared, "This is a victory for peace, not for party." But inside Washington, analysts understood it was a victory for optics, not for humanity. And when Hillary praised Trump, she wasn't just acknowledging a deal, she was validating the very man she once deemed a Democratic threat. That's why the reaction was so explosive. According to a Politico insider, Hillary wanted to rise above partisanship, to project an image of maturity and unity. For people like Jasmine, it wasn't statesmanship, it was moral compromise. In a hypothetical Capitol Hill interview, Jasmine said, "If we start praising the people who tried to break our democracy, how are we any different from them?" The line was short, but it cut through the old system like a knife. Hillary believes in compromise, Jasmine believes in confrontation. Hillary represents the politics of closed rooms. One side believes peace requires the strong to be in control. The other believes peace is only meaningful if it's built on justice. 3 days later, Hillary reappeared on CBS saying gently, "I understand the passion of our younger generation, but the world cannot run on anger." It takes courage to move past history. The studio audience applauded. But in Dallas, Jasmine responded via live stream. If moving past history means forgetting who created the wounds, then that's not courage, it's a fallacy. The two opposing viewpoints clashed across the nation. Like two lightning bolts striking the same conductor, Hillary spoke to the old America, Jasmine spoke to the rising America. Behind the scenes, Obama remained silent. Pelosi called for calm. But silence is also a stance. An advisor told Reuters, "The Democratic Party has never been in this much disarray." Meanwhile, Trump posted on Truth Social, "Thank you, Hillary." At least someone gets it. Fox News ran a video montage. Even Hillary admits Trump brought peace. With each replay, young voters grew angrier. Jasmine became the icon of that anger. In a speech in Texas, she said, "We are lying to ourselves When power starts praising power, justice disappears. The applause was thunderous. Many called it the Rosa Parks moment of modern politics. Meanwhile, at a New York fundraiser, Hillary smiled and said, "I will always support courage as long as it's accompanied by wisdom." A graceful but pointed remark. The two women, two icons, no longer represented the same party, but two opposing souls, experience and conviction. The woman who once condemned Trump was now being celebrated by Fox News. The woman who was once unknown was now the voice of millions of young people. In New York, a group of feminist activists who had once backed Hillary announced they were withdrawing their funding, stating they cannot support a woman who once fought Trump only to applaud him now. In California, tech donors, a key financial arm of the party, held a closed-door meeting and argued fiercely. One side claimed Hillary was just being realistic, while the other countered that if being realistic means praising a man who undermines democracy, then we have nothing left to be proud of. The division spread like a contagion. Progressive governors remained quiet, but traditional blue states grew restless. In Illinois, Governor Pritzker said diplomatically, "I respect everyone's opinion, but we shouldn't forget who was responsible for cutting social welfare." In Massachusetts, Elizabeth Warren posted a short tweet. "Peace cannot exist if it is built on injustice." The tweet got 300,000 shares in just 2 hours. And right below it, Jasmine Crockett commented with 3 words, "Exactly, thank you." The internet exploded. It was dubbed the tweet that broke the party, a tweet that forced the entire Democratic leadership to ask itself, who controls the narrative anymore? Hillary maintained her composure. She appeared at the Peace Vision Summit in Washington, wearing a pale blue suit and a faint smile, and said, "I am not interested in partisan politics. I am interested in peace, and I am willing to praise anyone who achieves it." But outside the venue, hundreds of protesters held signs reading, "Not in our name." One of them shouted, "If your peace is written in Trump's words, then it's not peace, it's a continuation of the lie." The slogan echoed in the cold night, captured by news cameras, and within hours spread across America. It was then that the media began to ask, is Hillary praising Trump the real story, or is it Jasmine's reaction that is forcing America to reflect? On the international stage, the event created a domino effect. In Europe, many diplomats saw it as a sign of the cracking of the Western democratic system. A German newspaper wrote, "When liberal icons begin to praise those they once condemned, we are witnessing the exhaustion of political faith." In Beijing, state television commentators said bluntly, "America is so self-contradictory, it needs no one to bring it down." And in the Middle East, an Al Jazeera analyst calmly noted, "American-style peace always begins with praise and ends in forgetfulness." Back in the United States, voters began to waver. According to a Pew survey, 63% of young Democratic voters said they had lost faith in the party's traditional leadership. Meanwhile, online searches for Jasmine Crockett's name increased 12-fold in just 2 weeks. On TikTok, clips of her saying, "I'm not afraid of losing my seat, I'm afraid of losing my soul," became a trending sound. Pundits called her the Gen Z fire of Congress. One NBC reporter said, "Perhaps Hillary, unintentionally, has created the greatest challenger to her own legacy." But not everyone was on Jasmine's side. Behind the scenes, many party veterans began to push back. Some called for the DNC to control the rhetoric of its younger members, while others leaked information that Jasmine is being funded by the far left to break the party. She responded succinctly, "If telling the truth is called sabotage, then maybe this party is already too fragile." And once again, social media erupted. Tensions escalated to the point where Congress was visibly split into 2 factions, Team Hillary and Team Jasmine. Closed-door meetings were no longer about legislation, but about faith. A veteran congressman whispered to Politico, "We're not afraid of Trump, we're afraid of ourselves." Meanwhile, across international newspapers, a new question emerged. If Hillary can praise Trump for peace, could Trump one day be invited to be a symbol of national unity? It sounded like a joke, but in Washington, no one was laughing. They understood that in an America where all norms could be upended, nothing was impossible. That weekend, CNN replayed a dialogue between Hillary and Jasmine from the Future of Democracy conference. The camera panned slowly. Hillary said in a calm voice, "No one has a monopoly on the truth." Jasmine replied, "True. But no one should be allowed to trade truth for comfort." That line became the punchline of the decade. Commentators concluded, this is no longer a political debate, this is a collision between the soul and the survival instinct. And in that moment, Americans understood that the real battle wasn't between Democrats and Republicans, but between those willing to speak the truth and those who just wanted to sit comfortably in silence. Hillary chose peace even if it meant shaking hands with her former adversary. Jasmine chose the truth even if it meant risking her career. Two choices, two paths, and between them hung a lingering question. How much longer can a democracy survive if its soul has grown accustomed to compromise? From Gaza to Washington, from CNN to TikTok, from the Oval Office to every coffee shop, the confrontation between two women, one of the past, one of the future, had become a moral test for the entire nation. And when the stage lights dimmed, only one question echoed in the darkness. Can America keep its soul, or will it applaud as yesterday's enemy is crowned today's hero? Peace can be signed on paper, but the soul of a party, of a nation, is signed only with courage. If you believe that the truth shouldn't be bought with a round of applause, share this video. Don't let the voice of conscience be drowned out in a downpour of sophistry. Comment below. Was Hillary right, or is Jasmine the one keeping the soul of America alive? Hit like, share, and subscribe to join us as we follow the stories of power reshaping this century where every compliment, every handshake can shake an entire empire.